What have people been saying to you? Perhaps not right now, because it doesn't look very busy.
Good morning. Well, of course, this has been a very safe Tory seat ever since it was first created, and I have been here so many times over the last 6 months or so, getting people's reactions to different scandals that Boris Johnson has been involved in, with such as Partygate, and it's always really struck me that there is a huge degree of loyalty for Boris Johnson in his constituency. The question is, are people here just because they're voting Conservative? Are they going to be loyal to Liz Truss? Because between the two Prime Ministers, we're seeing different policies, and actually Liz Truss is rowing back on policies which Boris Johnson implemented, such as in the mini-budget we saw her rowing back on the increase to universal credit, which Boris Johnson had, of course, bought in. And yesterday at the Tory party conference, she didn't confirm whether benefits would rise in line with inflation. Well, that was something that Boris Johnson had confirmed to the public. So for Conservative voters, they may not feel the same way about Liz Truss as they did about Boris Johnson. I was out and about here speaking to people about the two Prime Ministers, and this is what they had to say.
I wish they hadn't pushed Boris out. I think he's hit the ground running from day one, and he hasn't really been given a chance to actually just be Prime Minister without all this Brexit and COVID and everything else in Ukraine. So I hope he gets a chance to have another go.
I think she's really reliant on her cabinet. I do miss Boris Johnson. He had a lot more support behind him.
Don't basically miss Boris Johnson. I don't think Liz is doing a better job. Because already, I think as soon as she came out, they're saying I think in billions we're in debt already. As soon as she came in, I think she's trying to help, but I don't think she's going to last for long.
Yeah, he did a few things wrong, and a lot of people but he did a lot of things right. And yes, I miss him a lot.
What do you dislike about what Liz Truss is doing at the moment?
I think she's for the rich and not for your middle class people.
He's been sacked from every job he's ever had for lying, and although I think that from an integrity perspective, Liz Truss probably isn't like that, I don't think she's the right person to lead the country.
Do you think Uxbridge and South Ruislip could vote Labour in the next election?
I think that there are very many places in the country, including here, that would absolutely have a bigger turnaround.
Well, there you go, some of the thoughts of people in Uxbridge. And it was interesting, that final woman's comment there about whether this seat, which has historically always voted Conservative, could change, because we've got 18 months until a general election, which actually isn't that long. And there's a big question about whether this seat and other seats as well, how safe they are, because in 2017, Boris Johnson only won here by a majority of just over 5,000, which was the smallest of any sitting Prime Minister since 1924. So with the general election only 18 months away and the cost of living crisis continuing to be a huge issue for so many people in the country, seats like this may not be so safe for the Conservatives.